Kia ora. My name's Shannon, and I work in the disability sector, primarily in education. And today in New Zealand is a bit of a rough day. And I've had lots of rough days in education. Before I immigrated, there was the day I hid under a desk with some kids thinking that there was a gunman. Turned out to be a false alarm, but it was a pretty bad work day. I've been to funerals. I've been to some really intense meetings. I've dealt with a few things, but today feels different. There is a lot of rage, and there's a lot of emotion out there. And it's all been triggered because of a Stuff article. And the basic storyline, as we understand it, is a family wrote to the minister sharing about their experience of having insufficient support for their child with a learning difference to attend school. They had been funding a TA. The school's now been told that's not allowed to happen, and they've been directed to not accept that contribution. Now, I don't think any of us feel like we should be fighting behind the rallying cry if families should be paying for teaching assistants and specialists and the like. Nobody wants that. However, until sufficient support's in place, of course it's going to happen. And it's widespread in New Zealand. People are all afraid of retaliation and getting caught out, so it's all hidden. But it's very, very common. So let's think about what it means to prop up a system. And this happens in other aspects of social services, but let's focus on education. So imagine you had a school where you had kids where the walls were starting to fall out and the kids were on the roof. Don't ask me why. It's just the metaphor that comes to mind today. My first thing would be to run and hold those walls up and gather people around. And that's what we've been doing. Sometimes it looks like families paying for teaching assistants. And there's lots and lots and lots of ways people are propping up the system. And today, that article made it sound like, A, the people in charge are not aware of how much effort and money is being used to prop up the system, and that all that effort to keep those kids safe and thriving has not been appreciated. But worse, people are afraid that they're going to all be asked to let go. And imagine the emotion you would be feeling if you've been holding something up at great cost to yourself emotionally, sometimes financially, and you're supposed to walk away knowing exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be bad. And the thought of having to watch some of those TAs leave breaks me a bit, because some of these kids cannot safely go to school without that support. And so there is a bit of rage and emotion and upset and betrayal, and some really strong emotions are being felt by quite a few families, because while they've been unseen, this feels like a complete denial of what they're experiencing. And there's a great fear that what the propped up system looked like, well, nobody thought it was great. It's way better than the alternative. It feels quite cruel to threaten to remove needed supports before proper supports are put in place. None of us want families paying for these TAs. TAs aren't even the be-all, end-all of what's needed. They're just a piece of the puzzle. And so I'll leave it at that, because I have already seen a few more text messages coming in from a few more families that I support and work with. So if you care about kids, have a think about what it would mean to find out that you couldn't send your kid to school safely. And perhaps if we can all rally around, maybe something can change, because this is not okay.